So a sound engineer deals with the technical side of things. So they make sure that everything works and that everything's plugged in correctly. And then they also balance sound really intricately. Whereas sound design, I actually make noise. I build the noises and the sounds. So it's almost more musical in that sense. My sound is often quite musical, as I said, and quite flowing, and you almost can't hear the end of one sound before the next one begins. So I treat it almost like a score. So I compose the sound rather than just kind of pick sounds to go in places. With River Run, it started with just me and Alwyn in the room. So Alwyn is the performer, and also it's her own adaptation of Finnegan's Wake. She's just so trusting and so confident in her own work and her own aesthetic that she can kind of say to me, right, here are my ideas, what do you think of these? And she's happy to hand it over because she's not afraid, I suppose. It's an amazing artistic bravery that I haven't seen in anybody else yet.
Bishop Bevels to rocks right, Zarba boy extinguish, Nuota bene.
A lot of sound designers would come from a more technical sound background, so they'd be really experienced engineers or kind of people who work on the technical side of sound. Often their approach would be slightly different to mine in that, their speaker placement and use of microphones and stuff would be razor sharp, and it would be really amazing. Often, as I said, I do quite moody and long-range soundscapes. Big and bassy sounds that just are around you. So atmospheres. Whereas this is pretty much a cartoon and there's no talking, and so it's all mad little boinks and bops and zaps and things because it's for children. It should be, it should be kind of big and bold and in your face. While being cartoonish and while it's for a younger audience, that doesn't mean it should be less vigorous or less excellent.
I think even when the acting style is quite heightened, we still really push for realism and kind of real intention, real thought, real kind of naturalistic psychology behind it. Otherwise, I think it could become really kind of hollow. And I think in the same way, the sound design for the show is rooted in reality, but sometimes the way it's used or at certain moments makes that more heightened or makes that more funny.
We pretty quickly knew that we'd need an Alma, certainly a sound designer, really inventive. And Toby had already worked with Alma on, what was it now, Hansel and Gretel, and he was excited about her responsiveness in the room. And then that's something that's always really important to us when we're working, that people are prepared to rehearse with us, not come in and layer something on afterwards.
But how about Alma, if we really set up these sort of slow-mo-y noise, could we have sort of sparkly, thought noise, but without slowing down?
Yes, I think, and what we could do there is even, I don't know if this is possible, are you able to change how loud it is even at that point? Mm-hmm. So that it's not changing what's playing, but even just a tiny down? Or, indeed, I could just play mine really loud.
Yeah, let's try that. Just play the sparkly really loud. Let's try not going slow-mo.
We had specific points where we thought sound would really, really lead the storytelling, and actually what's been an amazing learning experience for me is Alma's sort of going, well, actually, if he's doing that at that point, surely he should do that there, and you realise how integral it is to the point where the actors, when we're re-rehearsing it now, they're making their own sound effects because they're so used to it being there, and when Alma's busy working on something else, they start going bloop, bloop, and you're like, no, you don't do that because it's going to be there over the top of it.
This is a launch pad, and rather than in QLab, when you cue something up, when you press spacebar, it just goes on to the next cue, which means that if you want to press something twice, you have to link it up twice and you have to have it in there twice to happen. Whereas this, every time you press it, you can do it again and again and again. So these are good for visual things, like if someone's pouring a cup of tea or suctioning something. You can kind of have it as long or as short as you want.
I think having having the sound design in the room, if anything, brings a lot more clarity and a lot more focus. Especially in a show without words, it's sort of you realise how much a sound can help throw focus to a piece of storytelling visually, an object, a person, an action.
You can't be too precious about it. You have to kind of go with the flow and add what you can and let things fall by the wayside, because it's for the good of the show. So it's okay for things you put work into. Sometimes they fall away, but you never know when they might turn up again. Because technology has gotten better, it's easier to make things sound really, really good without necessarily spending a fortune. So I think even fringe people and young theatre makers are now, their ears are open a lot more to the need for sound. So people starting young are already thinking of it as a vital component. I suppose it's a frame of mind, really, or it's having that brief, I suppose, and working with other people brings it to a more design point of view, and always bringing back whatever sounds you use or whatever pieces of sound you compose, always bringing it back to how does it fit with the whole, how does this sit with my logic for this show or this world. Composition, I find you can be a bit more loose with it, and music doesn't always need a why, but sound design always needs a why.